So in this exam, we have data on New York tax returns, annual information on personal income tax returns of full-year residents in New York State by income range and county of residence. Got tax year, county, income range, number of returns, income, taxes paid, dividend income, capital gains, charitable contributions, and so on. And then we have another data set on S&P 500 index, and we'll look at that later. First question, what is the unit of observation? So let's connect to the data. I have all of that data in my exams fall 2024. I'll connect to New York tax returns, and we see there's tax year, shows up as a number. That's fine. County, income range. All right, that makes sense. 1 to 9,999. Number of returns, that's a number. And other fields. That looks good. Let's go to sheet 1. And let's figure out what is the unit of observation. What is the granularity of the data? Let's start by putting in the count. So see how many observations we have. Looks like 3,968. It's probably by county. Okay, it looks like 61 counties, and we have 64 observations for each county. Tax year. Well, tax year here appears as continuous. It's in green. Let's turn it into discrete for this one purpose, where we want it to appear each distinct value on a separate row. All right, and we can see that there's 8 observations in each county in each year. What could it be? Is it residency status? No, I think this was all full year residents. So that's not 8 different residency statuses. There's something that we saw in the title or the description of the data set, which was New York income range. So let's try that. And there we go. We see that the returns were split up by how much money people made. Right? So we'll see characteristics of people who had income over 200,000, people who had income under $1, people who had, oops, that's not what I wanted, people who had income between 1 and 10,000 and so on. Okay. And so how many observations do we have? We have 3,968, and here we have 3,968 rows. So the unit of observation is county, tax year, and income range. Next question. Create a bar chart showing the total amount of taxes paid in each year. In each year, all right, a bar chart. So sure, let's put tax year on columns. We're going to make a vertical bar chart. Taxes paid, it's going to be sum of taxes paid across all the income ranges, across all of the counties. So that's going to be all the taxes that were paid in New York State in each year. All right, we're talking about billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. All right, that's all. That's pretty easy. Number 3, we're going to create a bar chart, 2 bar charts, 2 vertical bar charts in one sheet. And it's going to show tax returns for each county in 2022. So we're going to put counties on columns. We're going to put tax year onto filter because we want to see it just in 2022. And at the top, we should show the number of returns. So we're going to put sum of a number of returns. We're going to sort it by the number of returns. And we see that in Kings County, Queens, we've got a lot of returns, in the millions. And then in some other counties like Cayuga, we're talking about 33,000 returns. So each return is pretty much a household. So there's certainly some counties that are big, like Kings, that's Brooklyn, that's a big county. Queens, Manhattan, those are big places. Yates, Hamilton, those are tiny places, small counties or with low population. But we're supposed to put another bar chart in the same view, something that shows the total income. So we're going to take New York income, again, adding it up across all of the income ranges in 2022 by county. Okay, so it's basically 8 income ranges. So this number adds up the income across those 8 income ranges. Clearly, we see there's a lot of income in Manhattan. There's one reason there's a lot of income in Manhattan is because they have a lot of returns. But even given how many people live in Manhattan, and Manhattan has disproportionate amount of income earned. Okay, and then in contrast, Bronx, yeah, a lot of people in Bronx, lots of returns. Again, where's Bronx here? Right here. But relatively lower income. Perfect. Number 4, add a label to the top of each bar on the bottom chart. So I'd like to show that this the amount of income earned in Manhattan is really number 1. It's the highest amount of income across all of the counties. And for this Westchester County, I don't know. It looks like maybe it's a third or fourth. I'd like a label that tells me whether it's third or fourth. So let's put a label, and that label is going to be based on the amount of income earned. So I'm going to put that label. I want that label only on the bottom chart. So I'm going to click here, and not all of the marks, but just the marks that show the New York income. I'm going to drag that onto label. And what I see here is just actually the total income. That's not what I want. I want the rank of that county across all 62 counties in terms of their New York income. So I need to add a table calculation. It's going to be a rank, and it's going to be descending. Sure. I'm going to make it yeah, I'm going to make it unique, and it's going to be table across because I'm going to create the rank across counties. And that's terrific. I see that New York is number 1, Kings is number 2, and here really Westchester is number 4. All right, fantastic. Would probably format it a little nicer. Actually, not this way. Let's click on label and let's look at the alignment and let's make it stand up. Is that gonna work? No. Let's see here. Can we make it this way? Yeah, perfect. We format it, that label, so that you can, so that it's not horizontal, so that it's not vertical, but rather just horizontal, the normal. We would like to read 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay, that's question 4. Question 5. So I'm gonna try rename this. Sure, I'll do Q3 plus 4. Now we're gonna do question 5. Create a low row level measure of New York income per return. So for each county and each income range, we know the amount of income earned and the number of returns in that income range. So let's create a calculated field. I'm going to call this income per return. And we'll do NY income divided by number of returns. Okay. And let's take a look at what this number is showing us. It's a big number. Mm. It's a big number because we're adding up uh, across all the counties, across all the years, across all of the income ranges. We probably want to see what is the average. What is the average income um, per return? So this is across all the years, across all the counties, across all the income ranges. Now, we want to see this for 2022. So we're going to again put a tax here. We're going to say 2022. We'll say OK to that. And we want to see this for the different income ranges. So let's put income range here. And that makes sense. I'm going to put under $1 at the top because that's the lowest income. And I see that in each income range, the income per return roughly corresponds to the income range. And that makes sense because this includes people who had income between 1 and 10,000. So the income per return should be between 1 and 10,000. Okay, very good. On average, across the counties. Right? So there's really 62 observations behind each of these numbers, right? Because we're um, filtering for just year 2022. Here we have each specific income range. I can even convince myself I'm going to put the number of observations on the tooltip. So when I hover over this, yeah, I'm averaging across 62 observations. Very good. Number 6, create an aggregate measure of New York income per return. So this is going to be different. We're not going to be averaging across counties. What we want to do is we want to add up all of the income within that income range and across all of the counties and divide that by the number of returns in that year in that income range in all of those 62 counties. So we'll do create a calculated field. I'm going to call it income per return aggregate. And it's going to be the sum of New York income divided by the sum of number of returns. And we'll take that measure and add it to the table. And what do we see? We see that the aggregate measure is generally higher, not always, but especially for here, for the highest income range, it's higher than the average across counties of income per return. Why is that? Well, that's because the aggregate income per return weighs the larger counties more heavily because those counties have more returns. And so they have higher income and they're divided by the higher number of returns. And the counties that are small, they get added to the total number of returns, and their income gets added to the total number of returns, but it plays a smaller role when it's the aggregate measure. Whereas in the average of income per return, where we average income per return in each county is weighted equally. Okay, and in some of the small counties, as we saw in question 3 and 4, in some of these small counties, there's low income. And so the aggregate measure weighs those larger counties more heavily, and those larger counties, such as Manhattan and Westchester, they also have high income per return, and that's why the aggregate measure shows up greater than the average across counties. Very good. So that's question 5 and 6. Question 7. Do counties with high income per return tend to have high charitable contributions as a share of income? So we'll need another calculated field. We'll need charitable contributions as a share of income. Let's start by making this calculation a row level calculation. Or rather not. Let's make it aggregate calculation. Let's sum up all of the income, NY income, divided by the sum of number of returns. Let's see what it is. Well, so it's giving us 40, 85, 90. No, that's not what I wanted. I'm sorry. As a share of income. So I'm going to change that, edit, not number of returns, but rather, yeah, not sure, confused. I'm going to do, I forgot about charitable contribution. Sum of charitable contributions. Charitable contributions uh, divided by the sum of New York income. Okay, that's good. That's about 2%. 2% across all income ranges, all counties, all years. We can format it as a percentage. Perfect. We'll only want this in 2022. That's what the question says. So we're going to select 2022. And we want to see if in counties, yes, that have a high income per return. So let's take the income per return. Now let's put that on columns, and let's put the charitable contributions on rows. So we're going to do a scatter plot. I'm going to slice this by counties. So I'm going to put county on detail. Let's actually put county on label. And we see that in general, yes, there's a relationship between the share of income that goes to charitable contributions as they appear on their tax returns, keeping in mind that not all charitable contributions appear on tax returns. It's really mostly for people who itemize deductions. They show charitable contributions, which tend to be high income filers, high income counties, but indeed we see that. We see that in Manhattan, Rockland, Westchester, Nassau. Those are high income counties, and they also give a higher share of that income in charitable contributions. We should probably also format this vertical axis as a percentage. So let's go here, let's go format, and let's format axis, and the number should be percentage. Perfect. Okay, number 8 says that we want to do a highlight table. Each county in each year. So we're going to put counties down the line here. We're going to put tax year across the columns. And we want to do taxes paid. Perfect. And we want to see what is each county's share in total state taxes in each year. So we're going to do a table calculation. That's going to give us a percent of total going table down. so that we have what percentage of taxes paid by Albany residents make up um, in total taxes. So at the bottom here, it should add up to 100. And we might as well add the grand column total. Okay, perfect. And we're supposed to sort this by how much each county paid in taxes. So we're going to do it in descending by field, taxes paid, sum, perfect. And we want this to be a highlight table. So we want to put a color behind these numbers. So let's actually drag this onto color and still create a label. So this was taxes paid, and but the label also needs to have that same table calculation, which is a percent of total, table down. I'll say okay to that. The mark is going to be a square. Perfect. That's a highlight table. And so we could see Manhattan, Nassau, that's Long Island, Westchester, those counties pay really pretty hefty share of all taxes paid in New York State. When you look at a county like Albany, really less than 1%. Like all of these counties, they pay less than 1% of all the taxes paid in New York State. Fantastic. We noticed also that some of these counties here are New York City counties. So we're going to redo this table. So I'm going to duplicate it, and we will redo it where we combine the New York City counties into one value called New York City. And we can do that by taking the county field and creating a group. And we'll do Brahms. That's going to be part of NYC. And what else is going to be part of NYC? Kings County, that's Brooklyn. So let's put that, we can drag it up to NYC. Oh, you know what? Let's just, I'm gonna right click on it, add, add to NYC. Okay. Manhattan, add to NYC. What else? Queens, add to NYC, and I think it's Richmond. Yeah, that's Staten Island. It's gonna add to NYC. And so now we have this group, NYC, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counties in it. I'll say OK to that. And we'll take this group dimension and replace that with replace the original county field with this grouped county field, and get rid of the county. I'm going to sort this again by not data source order, but by field. Descending, taxes paid. Fantastic. Okay. And we see that New York City really pays almost half of the taxes in New York State, 14%. Fantastic. So that's question 9. Question 10 asks us to combine this data, this New York taxes data, with S&P 500 data. So we'll need to go in here to the data source tab and take a look at the S&P 500 annual data. Let's take a look. I'm going to try to how about I try to make a relationship between them? There's no common field, it looks like. That's because in New York tax returns, I've got tax year, got county. I don't have any county or anything in the S&P 500. I just have adjusted close and a date. So clearly, I think it's the date that I need to use to line up the two data sets. So I can try that. I can try tax year and link it to date. Doesn't seem to connect. There's no matching happening. And why might that be? Hmm. Well, let's think about this. If I look again at the description of the data, it says this is end of the year values, and the field is date. So I wonder if instead of date including just a plain year, if it actually has the date, like December 31st, in there. I can probably even see that if I hover over here and I click this little spreadsheet-like icon, I can see that this S&P 500 annual data looks like this. It's just a one row. Wow, look at this, and actually goes way back to 1927, and it's giving me date. Looks like last trading day of the year. Sometimes it's December 29, sometimes it's December 30th, sometimes it's December 31st. Okay, so that clearly is not going to match with a tax year. So what I need is I need to replace the date with a calculation that pulls year out of the date. And that's going to be an integer, and that's going to match with a tax year. I'm going to say OK to that. And now I see that I see some data. I see that there's been a, a match between tax year and year of the date in the S&P 500 data. So, so let's create what the relationship might be between capital gains income. Um, so here we have capital gains. So we're going to put that on rows, and we're going to put tax year on columns. And how about we make this a line? Sure. So you could see that the capital gains on people's tax returns go up and down. They went up in 2021, and then they went down in 2022, the last year that we have available. We can see how that relates to the value of the S&P 500 index. So let's take the closing value of the index and put it on the y-axis. And let's actually make this a dual axis. Now, null. So the first year that we have for the tax data is 2015. So we actually don't want to show the prior S&P 500 values. So let's actually exclude this null. And we see actually a pretty strong relationship here. Let's make this nice. Maybe we can make it fit with, and here's the closing value of the S&P 500. Right, and here it was around 4,700, and that's in the orange line, and the blue line are the capital gains. As the market went down, capital gains, as they appear on tax returns, went down as well. And vice versa. When the market is going up, people are realizing capital gains and paying taxes on them and showing them on their tax returns. Certainly, to make this a little more informative, we could probably label these lines. That label is in the generated field measure names. So let's drag that to label. All right, that's pretty good. We've got this is close. We could probably rename it instead of close. We could call it the S&P 500 index. Yeah. All right, that's good. That's question number 10, and that's the exam. Of course, since I'm here, so I have some time left. Uh, I use the relationship to combine the data set, right? That preserve the granularity of each table. I could have done this using a join. Let's do that. Let me change this. So I'm going to remove the relationship. I'm going to open this guy here, drag in annual returns. Again, I will need a join calculation where I match tax year to year of date in the S&P 500 data. I can probably make this an inner join because the tax data goes from 2015 to 2022. The S&P 500 data goes from 1927 to 2023. So if I do inner join, I'm going to lose some of that S&P 500 data, the 2023 and everything before 2015, but that's okay because I don't need it. I'm not going to lose any of the tax data. That's good because that's not going to mess up any of my previous charts that I made. So let's say okay to that. And let's go back to our question 10. And really the only thing that we should change here, look, this chart actually works the same way. The thing we should change though is this. This is giving us that the S&P 500 index is like 2,000, so like a 2 million. But it's not. The S&P 500 index really reached like 4,700 here. So, and that's because when we did a join, we broke the granularity, the annual granularity of the S&P 500 data. Now, each value of the S&P 500 is matched with every county and with every income range. And what we're showing here is the sum of the index. So we're summing that, say, 4,700 value across 62 counties and 8 income ranges. So we're multiplying it by, I guess, 62 by 8. And we don't want that, right? Because we know that the S&P 500 doesn't take these values in the millions. It's in thousands. We can fix it by, instead of summing, we can take average. We could have take the minimum or the maximum, give the same result. All right, very good. That's the exam. I'm gonna stop recording.